I know some people can't get on these just for like church and stuff reasons. So definitely, the replay is going to be really good. But anyways, okay, so I've been praying a lot, like, and just thinking about what type of content to talk about. And with these being so back and forth, I feel like this past month and last month were a little crazy, and because there was always like different events. So last week we didn't have a team Zoom, the week before we did, the week before that we didn't. Normally they're not inconsistent like this, they're normally super consistent. So bear with me while all these holidays and stuff are coming around. But anyways, so the topic of what the team Zoom was called What's Next. And I think each of us on here really needs this because this was so valuable for me. And so again, like I always talk about, my notes are literally all over the place. Like they're like over here, they're right here, they're right here, and then there's like reminders up here. Just as a reminder, go ahead and share the Opportunity Live Party. Let me go ahead and do that so people can share it if they've started it. Hold on, let me double check. Just so I can make sure that that is already available. And then go share this with your teams. Make sure that they're sharing it. And if someone could share this in the team chat, that would be great. So I don't have to hold this team Zoom up. Extra income. And do what we do. Okay, awesome. So I had to title that. Okay, so if y'all could go, someone can go share that in the chat, that would be awesome. Okay, so anyways, with that, so I've been talking a lot about like the things that I wanted to happen, the goals that I wanted to happen. I always talk about like manifesting the goals and all these good things. And over the past couple of years, I've realized that I've been able to do the things that I've been able to do. And Dallas and I, we set a goal. We were like, okay, we want to have this amount of money for a down payment for the house. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I don't know. I was just kind of speaking it out. I talked about it on social media. I talked about it on different things. And 2 weeks ago, we were able to make that happen. And it was a big amount of jump. I didn't know how it was going to happen. And I realized I was listening to a Michael Todd sermon this past week. And if y'all haven't listened to his sermon, Crazy Your Faith, they are like legitimately fire. Okay. So the crazy faith and then the Crazy Your Faith, they're like back-to-back series. They're amazing. You need to go listen to it. If not, he was basically talking about like, you can do all these things, you can say all these things, or you can like walk and like, trying to not butcher this. You can sit here and claim all of these things. You can say like, oh yeah, this is going to happen or whatever. I want this to happen. But like, are you speaking about it in faith? And I kind of went live about this in the team page too. So if you didn't watch that, you can go rewatch that. But a lot of us speak about our dreams, our goals, the things we want to happen in this business. And how many times have y'all been like, oh yeah, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I'm so excited for it to happen. And then that's the last time you talk about it, or you talk about it, but you're so doubtful when you talk about it that nobody believes you. Like, how many times have you went to your enroller, or went to me, or you went to the person that you were going to talk to and you told them you were going to do this thing and you have never done that thing because the first time you even told them you were going to do it, you weren't even confident that you could do it yourself. And it was just like a bunch of bull crap coming out of your mouth. Okay. So Michael Todd was talking about this and he was like, when are you going to start talking in faith? Like, when are you actually going to start speaking about it? Like, God's going to do something for you. So, and if you're not super spiritual, I'm going to be spiritual on here because this is just something that like really hit me this week. But basically they were talking about like, you have to have the faith talk. So when you're talking, I can talk about in two different examples, and you can kind of tell me which example you are. You can comment it below. You don't have to share it, but this is just kind of like a real moment of what I've had with myself, and hopefully it speaks to someone else tonight, because something needs to change in order for you to sit here and make your goals and the things that you want to happen. Are you the person that's like, I don't know how the freak it's going to happen. I'm going to pay off this house. I'm going to pay off this debt. I'm going to do this. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Or are you the person over here that's like, I mean, it could happen. It might. I don't really know. I guess I have this dream, but I don't really know if it's going to happen. You're kind of doubting God in one hand, and then the other hand, you're really, and the other person's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is going to happen, but God, you gave me the vision. I'm going to do it. And so many of you guys, and I know for me personally in the past, when I was speaking about things, anytime I would tell someone outside of this business, because I'm very comfortable sharing my big dreams in this business, but when it comes to people outside of this company or business, I'm like, yeah, I want this to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know, but it will. And I mean, maybe it will. And then I start doubting myself, and then I start like tracking back to what I was saying. And then I'm like, well, can that even happen? And so many of you guys have been claiming things for the end of the year. You've been claiming things for the entire year, and you can look back and honestly say maybe half of those things haven't happened. Maybe your life hasn't changed the way that you drastically wanted it to at the beginning of the year. And I don't know who I'm speaking to. I don't know what your life looks like, but I wanted to read this because this is so freaking valuable. And it goes a long way with when you're talking in faith, when you're speaking in faith, when you're just sitting there walking in faith. It's okay. I feel like it's normal to have a little bit of doubt, but if that doubt creeps over into your whole being, if that doubt creeps over into your whole like speech, you can't expect that to come true. It's gonna, like, your doubt is going to overpower any type of thing that you're saying. And I know that you could talk about this with maybe someone you're talking to and you could hear so much doubt in their voice. You can feel it off that person. You can feel that energy off that person. You know, whatever you speak, whatever you talk about, whatever you do is what's going to come into life and what's going to come into action. So many of you guys are speaking into doubt. You are talking about doubt. You're wanting all these things to happen, but you're in the back of your mind, you're so doubtful. And that's why it's just not happening. And I can say so many different scenarios in my life of what has happened for me specifically. So I'm not just like talking out of my butt. Like, this is actually something that's happened to me too. But anyways, this book, it's called 1,000 Prayers for Difficult Times. I actually got it as a gift for someone, but it's so good that I decided to read it before I give it to them as a gift. I know, ratchet, but it's fine. And it's called Doubt. And this might just really resonate with some people. But it says, and if you don't know this story in the Bible, don't feel like discouraged or anything, because there are so many Bible stories I do not know. But he was saying, Peter was walking along the surface of the water, his eyes fixed on Jesus, doing just fine. Suddenly he realized what he was doing. He looked at the waves beneath his feet and knew that what he was doing was absolutely impossible. Instantly his feet sank into the water. He knew he was going to drown, but Jesus didn't let him. Our Lord grabbed his good friend and saved him. And he does the same for us over and over every time we're swamped with doubts and start to sink into life's depths. Why do you doubt me? He asked. Have I ever let you sink? And then the little scripture above says, Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. You have so little faith, Jesus said. Why did you just doubt me? And I know for me, like when I read that, the first time I read it a couple of weeks ago, and then I just read it again tonight, I picked it up and I instantly just turned the page and that's what was it. And I was like, oh, you're speaking to me. Okay. And so many of you guys are like wanting something to happen. You get this adrenaline, you get this energy going, you get this excitement going because you have like really great conversations with distributors, or you have really great conversations with customers, or you have a team member that's finally working and you're finally hyped up, you're excited. And then all of a sudden these doubts start crawling into your mind, and the doubts start coming in like, oh, they won't stay around. They suck. They're not going to stay around with you. You're not a good leader. You can't even lead your own self. You can't lead your own household. You suck. You're not going to be able to do it. Just give up. Just give up. And you could put so many different scenarios in your head. And I know for me personally, you guys, that has been the biggest attack. Last month was such an amazing month, but I still had times where I was like, there's no way you could do this. There's no way you could do this. There's no way you could do this. And I kept doubting myself, and I kept catching myself every single time I doubted myself. And I would stop what I was doing and I would reread scripture, whatever your vibe is. I would listen to a sermon. I would journal out something, and I would combat that doubt. And it's not going to happen overnight. And that's where winning the war in your mind, that's where just surrounding yourself with people who dream bigger, whatever, all that good stuff comes into handy. But I want to ask you, are you personally the person that keeps falling into that doubt? Because all of you guys, I talk to all of you guys all the freaking time, and I'll hear you guys say something, I'll see you do it for a little bit, and then you back up. And then there's no action to back up behind it. And I think it's not because you don't want this. It's not any vibe that I get from that. It's genuinely just a doubt starts creeping in, fear starts creeping in, all the lies start creeping in, and it's just what gives? I know for me, I'm tired of living in that doubt, and not saying that we won't sit here and not live without doubt, because for human that will happen. But for the most part, are you tired of not talking in faith? And so from this time to the end of the month, and not even to the end of the month, but the beginning of the year, just leading into the new year, this is one thing that you could really focus on. And this is something that I'm personally focusing on. I actually caught myself saying this today. So Dallas and I had told y'all about buying a house and how really how bad we wanted it, but I was just not sure how it was going to happen with the housing market. It's freaking bananas here. Okay. And we had a really great opportunity pop up. And today we officially told someone that we wanted their house. And so fingers crossed, but I do think we're getting the house. So, but today when we were talking with the realtor and everything, he was like, the house is y'all's. Like, you just tell me you want it, you got it. Like, we don't have any bidders with it. So it's like, it could be officially ours. And after we left there, I still caught myself saying, yeah, I mean, it could happen. It possibly could happen. Yeah. And I like stopped myself and I was like, that is not faith talk. That is disgusting. Why did you just say that? And so I had to like back myself up. And then immediately, and I was just talking to Dallas about that. And then immediately when I said that, I backed it up and I was like, we're going to get it. We're good. We're good. You know? And so sometimes when you doubt yourself so much, you just have to back it up with like that faith talk. And so when you're speaking to a potential, when you're speaking to someone in this business, or when you're speaking to someone outside this business about your dreams and about your goals that you have, start talking in faith. And after this, I have a leader Zoom with some of the leaders on our team. And I'm really excited to talk to them about this because we as leaders carry the weight of our team. And I know for me, I set the tone of that. And there's sometimes where I walk in it and there's sometimes that I don't. And so for me personally, I know in order for you guys to reach y'all's personal goals, I have to be the one that's an example of that. And I don't always talk in faith. There are a lot of times I doubt myself when someone joins my team. I'm like, there's no way she's going to be successful because I've just sucked at being a leader in the past or whatever, you know, like it's just like lies like that go into my head. So I don't know whatever scenario you're having in your life today. Maybe it's you going full time with this business. Maybe it's you wanting to pay off debt. Maybe it's you wanting to be a stay-at-home mom and be able to do that with this business. Or maybe it's you wanting to bring on 2 new team members or just prove to yourself that you can be consistent. Whatever it is, start talking and speaking into faith when you're doing these things. And I bet you these things are going to come more of reality for you. And that's one thing that this business is all about, is like actually seeing your dreams come to true, like the truest form of itself. But I would love to actually see people talking in faith in this team and being like, oh, yep, by next week, I'm going to have this many distributors. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this many conversations, and start talking in it. Because, you know, when you start speaking into faith, just things happen anyways, but people are going to feel that. You're going to attract like-minded people. You're going to attract people to your team. And then before you know it, you're going to look back 2 months later, you're going to be like, wow, my team has grown exponentially. Wow, I grew as a person through that time. And so I don't know who I'm talking to, but that was just something that I personally just kind of had like a come to Jesus moment this week, and honestly just today in general, because I caught myself doubting myself. And then there was something else that I was going to read. Oh yeah, from my leadership book. Okay. Sorry again, this is all over the place, but hopefully that was really good. And y'all, if y'all have not listened to the Crazy Your Faith series, I'm telling y'all, it's really, really freaking great. Okay. And then this comes with it. So maybe you are in the situation where you're like, oh, I want to speak faith talk, but every single time I've ever tried to go after something, it's never happened, or it's never happened like the way that I planned it to, or like I wanted it to, or it's never happened in the time frame that I wanted it to. Maybe you're in that situation. I know for me personally, I could speak about that. Y'all know my story. I've been in this business 6 years. I keep looking at myself and I keep looking at other teams, and I'm like, oh, like I could be honest and say, like, there are times when I look at team Zooms and I see Morgan's team Zooms and hers are like 100 people, mine are like 10 or whatever. And I'm like, how ungrateful are you? Like, that's so stupid. Like, that's growth regardless. So you should just be grateful. So this could be any different scenario for you, but I just try to keep it real and give y'all scenarios with my situation. So when you don't have things happen like you want it to, it can sometimes feel like it's damaging your faith. Okay. If y'all can feel me, can someone at least put a 1 to let me know, like, hey, I want to dream. I want to think about this, but at the same time, like, I've been disappointed so many times it ain't even funny. Okay. That's me. And that's what I've been through in a lot of different seasons of my life. And so this talks about like determination and what that looks like. And so this is the leadership book. Y'all always know about it. I read about it all the time, but it's really good because it talks about like the refusing to quit and what that makes you into, what type of person that creates you into becoming. And there was another story in this, and it was talking about how like there was like a study based off of a person who has gotten fired from 3 different jobs, and there was a person who has stayed at a job for the past like 12 years and has never switched jobs. The person who has actually gotten fired from 3 jobs, or let go of 3 jobs, not fired, but let go of 3 jobs, they're actually more resilient and they're actually better workers than the person who has worked at the same job for 12 years, because they didn't like they didn't have to go through hard times. They didn't have to go through those transition stages. And so think about it like this. Anytime you reach a disappointment or anything that you have happen in your life or your business or whatever that doesn't come out the way that you want it to, think of it as it's building you into the character that you need to become. And I can give y'all so many different scenarios with this, but I do know with this business, things aren't going to happen in the timeline that you want it to. And I'm sorry to burst your bubble. It's just not. It's not with anything that you want in your life. You know, there's a lot of people that pray for kids that can't have kids in the time that they want to. They try for 10 years and then finally they get pregnant. There's people who have been praying for a home for 2 years. Okay. And it just hasn't happened yet, but now it is. And so there's a lot of different scenarios you can put into this. So don't think you're alone if you've been disappointed so many times. God's working you up into that moment, into that person that you need to become to be able to withstand that. And I wholeheartedly believe that, even sometimes with my doubt in place. So this talks about the determination, and it says, author Napoleon noted, effort only fully releases its reward after a person refuses to quit. To develop persistence over the long haul, you have to cultivate inward determination on a continual basis. And if you do, someday your story will maybe similar to one of these. And then it just gives you different scenarios, and it says, Admiral Perry attempted to reach the North Pole 7 times before he made it on try number 8. Oscar so-and-so, I don't know how to spell that last name or say that last name, had 5 flop shows that lasted less than a combined total of 6 weeks before Oklahoma, which ran for 269 weeks and grossed $7 million. John Creasy received 743 rejection slips. 743 rejection slips, that's a lot. Rejection slips from publishers before one word was ever published. He eventually published 560 books, which have sold more than 60 million copies. Eddie something, again, another weird last name, lost 250 consecutive races before he won his first. Albert Einstein, Edgar Allan Poe, and John Shelley were all expelled from school for being mentally slow. And that can just give you determination to show you don't ever give up. If you have a vision, if you have a dream, don't feel like you're silly or stupid for keep going. You have it in you for a reason. It's just might take that determination and grit to get you to where you want to go. And so you have to remember that. And it says, learn to become a determined individual. And remember, the only difference between a little shot and a big shot is that the big shot kept shooting. And I think about this all the time with my personal story with this business is, I think if there were different people in my scenario, people would have given up a long time ago. Like 6 years, people don't normally go 6 years with something. And even though I've been successful, I'm not where I want to be. But every stage I've hit along the way where I've wanted to be. But obviously I'm human. So I'm like, what next? What more? You know, all that good stuff. So maybe you're in a situation where you are like, I'm trying, I'm shooting my shot, I'm doing this, and nothing is working, or this isn't working, or this isn't working. All I'm asking you to do is try again and maybe pivot a little bit. And so some people on here, you know who you are, you haven't pivoted. You've been trying to do the same thing over and over again, and you haven't seen something work. And so, of course, you're going to lose a little bit of faith. But sometimes it literally just takes like a little bit of a shift for you to go a completely different direction and for you to actually see success. Did you know that an airplane, if it like switches just like one, I don't know the degrees in airplanes, but if it switches like 1 degree to like a centimeter to the right, it goes completely off course in a different way. It like could go the opposite direction when you wanted it to go, which is crazy. So you think of it like that, like you would just have to pivot 1 little centimeter and you could be good. Some of you guys are doing all the things, you're doing the greatest things, but you just aren't seeing that stuff yet. There is a reason and a season for that, and you have to trust it. I know sometimes it can be irritating. I get it. I do. But there is a reason for it, and you will see the fruitfulness of your work come into play. So that was kind of like something. And then with all of this kind of coming into place, so faith, obviously speaking into faith is great, but you kind of have to know where you're going to. So like, if you don't even have a vision for what you want or where you're going, you don't even call out your little goals and big goals and all those good things, how can you expect to even know where to go in the first place? And I know we talk about this all the time, so this is very repetitive. It's kind of old. I get it. You probably are like, okay, roll my eyes. I know where I'm going. But some of you don't. Some of you are like literally like, oh, I want this. And then you don't hear about it ever again. So today, until literally the end of the day that you quit this business, which hopefully is never, I really challenge you to start being loud with your goals. And just like I started being loud with the paying for the mortgage, or not mortgage, I'm sorry, the down payment for the house, which I am solely doing by myself. So I'm very proud of that. But if you don't start claiming them, how do you expect your audience to know where you're going to go? And it's not about like audience pleasing and all that good stuff, but it is like you need to speak it out into the universe, into the world, to let people know where you're going. Sometimes people don't even know where you're going because you haven't stated it in the past 6 months, and you expect people to know where you're going and to support you. So you can have faith talk, but to back that faith talk up, you have to know what you're talking about in the first place. So like, what are your goals, and going into this month, it's such a crucial thing. It's the end of the freaking year. It's the last month of the day, or the last month of the year. And then we're going into the new year. What do you want? Like, what do you actually want? And start putting in the faith behind it to know that it's okay. It will happen. And maybe if you're someone who has been disappointed so many times, don't put a timeline on yourself. For me, I like the personal goal for the down payment wasn't this month. I told myself, I was like, that would be so cool if we got a down payment this month. Didn't think it was going to happen. Had faith somehow it would happen, but I didn't know when. So I didn't put a time limit on myself. I was just like, we're just going to get a down payment. This is what's going to happen. And it happens when it's supposed to happen, you guys. Okay. Like, just trust the process. And so many of you are frustrated and you're hitting your head against the wall over and over and over again. Number one, because you're not speaking in faith. You're speaking in full doubt every single time you speak. And people can feel that. That's why people don't want to join you, is they're like, oh, she's doubtful. She don't know where she's going. She might quit in like 2 weeks because she's so inconsistent. I don't trust her. Okay. They need to know to trust you. And so just walking in that faith and being confident. And I promise you, one day you will find, 2 years down the road, 2 months down the road, I don't care what your journey is, you're going to look back and be like, oh, that really did happen. I'm really proud of myself. And it was because I spoke it out, but also because I had faith to back it up. And whenever you feel like your faith is falling, whenever you feel like your hope is falling, here are some things that I'll like read to you that just talks about like the doubt situation. Then we'll end this. Cause I didn't want it to be long. I just wanted it to be good and valuable and short. So here are some things with the prayer book that I'm going to read out of, and this can kind of end it off on a good note. So you can kind of remind yourself like, oh, okay, this is like, it's normal to not, or it's normal to drop faith sometime and not have hope. I get it, whatever. So here's some passages that says, Lord, I'm relieved that doubt and faith are not incompatible, but I'm having a hard time seeing you at work lately. I admit I've been disappointed in the way some things have worked out, things I prayed and searched your word about, but I sympathize with the dad in the Bible who prayed, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. Then it says, Jesus, I can't help but identify with Peter and with Thomas too. I want proof that you will keep your promises to me, that you are who you say you are, and that you will help me to do the things that seem so impossible. Forgive me for doubting you. And then it says, God, you know I still have doubts, but despite my doubts, I affirm that neither life nor death, nor angels, nor any spiritual power, nor height nor depth, nothing in the future holds. In fact, nothing whatsoever will ever be able to separate me from your love. And then this one's super short. It says, Lord, I do trust you, but help me to trust you even more. And then it says, I want to trust you, God. I want to give you all my fears, but no matter how many times I say the words, I can't follow through no matter what. I feel stuck. I'm helpless to change. Lord, I know you can do the impossible. Work a miracle in my heart, and I pray. I know, Jesus, that I am like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. Doubts are like a storm all around me, but you say to me, why are you afraid? Oh, you have little faith. You have power to quiet the storm. And so, like, when you are going through, and there's literally pages and pages and pages of that. If you want that, I can send pictures of it to you. But so many of you guys are just doubting over and over and over again, and I get it, but at the same time, like, just choose a different story today, choose a different narrative today, choose to do something different today and speak differently over yourself today. And it's probably not going to take like once or twice or 6 times. It might take 10 times, I don't know, but it will take you some time. But just practicing, walking and talking in that faith is really going to help you, and it's going to help you create that vision for yourself. And if you don't know where you're headed, and if you're like completely lost and you're like, you know what, I don't even know what I want anymore because I'm so disappointed at where I'm at, I don't know what your situation is, then maybe start small. And just start super, super small with having faith that he can do something super little in your life, like proving to yourself that you can be consistent for 7 days, proving to yourself that you can eat healthy for 2 days. Like, I don't know, it could be anything, but I just think that you have to start small in order for you to go bigger. So if you have been dreaming so big and you're like, well, how do I get to diamond or double diamond, but you haven't been consistent a day in your life, that might need to change with the like statement first, like saying, how can I be consistent? How can I choose to walk in faith today? How can I choose this? And so saying those words over and over again, it's going to be really powerful. And I would just love for our team, just moving into the new year and just moving into this month, just to be able to do immeasurably more than I could have ever freaking imagined. And I know it's going to happen. I just don't know how. So I'm going to have that faith, and I'm just going to keep walking and talking in it. And with the last thing, um, what is it? With the last thing, so there's a dream board party on Wednesday that Morgan posted about. She went live about. I'm going to definitely see if I can make it. Dallas surprised me with some like basketball game tickets, but um, I gotta do something because I really want to make the dream board party. So make sure that you are. Oh, Wednesday is just the prep. Oh, blessed. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you for telling me that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Becca. Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. So the dream board party is Sunday, and then the prep is Wednesday. So that's perfect. But we won't do our team Zoom next Monday. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Next weekend. That's when the dream party will be. Um, so make sure to be able to get the stuff for that because I want you guys to dream big. I want y'all to dream big, go home, all that good stuff. And I want y'all to be present. And so if you haven't been showing up for your best self today, I want you to start today. Start walking and talking in faith. And just if you don't have anybody to tell because you're up, lying, quit, text me. Like, I don't freaking care. I'm here to help people, but I can't help you for you who don't want to step out in faith and try it. So I don't know, hopefully this isn't just a bunch of rambling, but I know those passages and stuff really help me in just like speaking in faith and what it can do for me, and what it has done for me, and making sure that I didn't miss out on anything. Yeah, I don't think I had anything else. So I will post this recording if you need to go back and rewatch this, or if you need to tag someone in this. I don't know, but I'm about to get together with the leaders. We're going to go over some things, and there's definitely going to be so many amazing things happening this week, and this month, and just like everything. So make sure to hop on the family call after this too. But thank you guys so much for hopping on. Let me